Rangers are Britain's most effective goal-scoring machine. Already this season, they've scored more than 100, and they're heading for the league title. The one cloud that sits over Ibrox, the fact that Rangers haven't won the Scottish Cup for 11 seasons. Only 10 days ago, they met Celtic in the last Old Firm league game of the season. Their greatest enemy stopped them in their tracks. Celtic are on something of a roll at the moment. They're unbeaten in 14. They've won the last 12. The Scottish Cup is their last chance of glory this season. We're at Hampden Park, the most famous venue in Scottish football, for the Cup semi-final between Celtic and Rangers, live. We're all set for the ultimate derby match, the most famous football fixture in Britain, certainly the fiercest fought, on Sky Sports tonight, the Old Firm. Celtic and Rangers at Hampden then. It kicks off at 8 o'clock. We'll be there in good time. That's just one half of a magnificent double bill tonight. When we finished at Hampden, we're off to Italy, to the San Siro Stadium, for Milan against Juventus, the top two teams in Serie A. This time they meet in the Italian Cup semi-final over 2 legs. In stark contrast to Glasgow, it's been a glorious spring day in Italy. The atmosphere, like Hampden, a bit special. The whole of that game, Milan against Juventus, coming up at 10 o'clock tonight. Our guests, well, they're ideal. Ray Wilkins, who's played for both Rangers and Milan, and Paul Elliott, who joined Chelsea this season from Celtic. He had a couple of seasons with Pisa in Italy before that. If you haven't experienced an Old Firm derby before, well, you're in for a real treat. This is the sort of action that we can expect.
Waits. There's Butcher! Butcher for Rangers! Ball. Breaks him off Tchaikovsky. Stevens. Johnston. And he scored. Colin. Glancing header. Derek White for Celtic. Stevens chests it down to Harlock. Yes! Elliott. Yeah. Paul Elliott does it again for Celtic. Here's McCoy, he must score.
Impressive little jig from Ali McCoist, not as impressive as Paul Elliott's. Welcome, big man. Played against Rangers a number of times. Scored a couple. Skull Cup final I can think of straight away.
Yeah, and also in the league. Very fortunate to as well.
Great games.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, the greatest game probably in Britain, one of the best in Europe. The atmosphere will be absolutely electric. Both sets of supporters will be in full vocals. And I think it's a magnificent game we've got in prospect.
You've played in the Milan derby, the Manchester derby, the Old Firm derby. Where does it rate?
It's certainly the quickest and most hectic. I think tonight we're in for a really hectic, frantic game. And that's one thing that does stand out. I played in one game and was very fortunate to beat them 5-1. But even at 5-1, they were still putting us under pressure. Their crowd was still singing. And it was as if it was still 0-0. I couldn't believe that they hadn't laid down and died.
You scored a screamer in that 5-1 as well. I'm surprised we didn't see it.
I'm very surprised, actually, we didn't see it.
Very disappointed as well.
It's a rare one as well.
Celtic Rangers, no doubt about that being our big game tonight, but what a double bill. A reminder that we're following on from Hampden with the Italian Cup semi-final between Milan and Juventus. Those two teams are 1 and 2 in Serie A right now. They've been producing action like this all season.
Cross. Massaro this time, no. Van Basten this time, yes.
This is Rijkaard. Here's Van Basten towards Hullet. And the goal! Still Donadoni! Oh, what a goal! Fantastic shot from Donadoni.
It's a great hit. It's a great goal.
And Ray Wilkins, as we know, there's a soft spot in your heart for Milan.
Only a small one. But I suppose this game for Milan, outside of their derby against Inter, this is the big game for them. It always has been, whether it be league football or cup football. This is the big opposition, apart from Inter.
Couple of league meetings this season, Paul. Even Steven.
Yeah. Sometimes you find with such great talents, playing against each other, they tend to cancel each other out.
Well, you talk about great talent. I'm sorry to interrupt, but the top three, look, that's how much better they are, those two teams, than third place Napoli. Yeah,
and it's strange in the contrasting styles. Milan play a very all-out attacking game with two wingers, whereas Juventus, Trapattoni notoriously for his defensive-minded style with, 3 foreign players who are all central defenders.
Should be a bit special. What a night. We'll be going up to Hampden to talk to David Livingston, who'll have some team news for us in a moment or so. But to remind you, 10 o'clock tonight, we're going to the San Siro, one of the great stadiums in world football. Takes your breath away, doesn't it? Milan against Juventus. And the old girl of Scottish football, wearing a bit now, it has to be said, but what a stage, nevertheless, for our main event this evening. That's Celtic against Rangers in the Scottish Cup semi-finals. Stay with us.
Sky Sports goes...
Welcome back. Milan and Juventus at 10 o'clock. Celtic against Rangers. That's coming up at 8 o'clock live. What an evening here on Sky Sports. Big night for football, in fact, all over the country. Manchester United are playing at Norwich. We'll keep you right up to date with everything that's happening. Hampden Park right now. A filthy day in Scotland, I understand. Let's get confirmation of that from David Livingston. David, good evening to you.
Good evening, Richard. They tell me this is the glamour of television, Richard. Looking around here, the rain's teeming down. There's a blustery wind. But really nothing can dampen the enthusiasm of the 45,000 who'll come here tonight. You can see around the stadium the flags, and even though they're out in the open air, they'll be cheering on their teams, and it's going to be a great occasion. And there's some dramatic team news from both sides. First of all, for Celtic, Joe Miller's in, and for Rangers, there's the return of Dale Gordon, Ian Durrant and Stuart McCall. But let's look first of all at Celtic. Goalkeeper Gordon Marshall. Defenders Chris Morris, Derek White, Tony Mowbray and Tommy Boyd. Up front, midfield Brian O'Neill. Paul McStay, of course, in the centre of that midfield, and John Collins. And up front, Joe Miller, he's back from injury, as I said. Charlie Nicholas and Jerry Craney. Manager, of course, Liam Brady. He's trying to win his first trophy in his first season with Celtic, and this is the last route open to them. And believe it or not, Hampden is a new experience for him.
It's my first time here, so I'm loath to describe what it's going to be like, but I can imagine it's going to be very tense. And two good sides, two footballing sides, so hopefully Sky viewers will be in for a great evening.
Well, of course, Celtic desperate to win, and Liam Brady has said beforehand that he's annoyed that people should say that it's not as important to Rangers as it is to Celtic. And here's the team he's selected for tonight, and there's some good news for the Rangers fans. In goals, Andy Gorham. Defenders, Gary Stevens, Richard Gough, back from injury recently, of course, John Brown and David Robertson. In midfield, this is where it's all happening. Dale Gordon's back, Ian Durrant's back, Nigel Spackman and Stuart McCall also made it back from injury. Up front, there's no Paul Rideout, it's Ali McCoist and Peter Houstra. Manager Walter Smith, of course, on course for another championship with Rangers, but desperate to reverse the team's bad fortune in the Cup. So does he think this game will be different from the Old Firm game 10 days ago?
I don't think any two matches between Rangers and Celtic are ever the same. There's nobody can predict the outcome, and many media people for years and years have been trying to guess the winners of Rangers and Celtic games, and it's, I think, practically impossible to do. I just hope that we acquit ourselves a bit better than we did in a league match. We didn't play particularly well. In fact, it was probably one of our poorer performances of the season overall, and we'll be in there.
Well, Walter Smith said it all. This is the most unpredictable match in Scottish football. It's the semi-final of the Cup, and despite the weather and the bad conditions, the pitch is fine, and we can guarantee you some occasion here tonight, Richard.
It'll be a fabulous night. Thank you, David. Sorry about the hiccup in the sound. Not surprising when you look at the weather conditions. We'll have it perfect for 8 o'clock. Ray Wilkins, Houstra instead of Rideout, which we expected. No Mikhailichenko in that Rangers lineup.
No, that's right. I think Walter's gone in actual fact for 5 across the middle, with Houstra wide on the left, Gordon wide on the right. And with Ian Durant in there, he's fantastic at breaking late from the middle of the park. And I think we'll find him bursting forward to join McCoist as much as possible.
Celtic, Joe Miller's back, and they're on a roll, as we've said. 14 unbeaten, 12 wins, including, of course, one at Ibrox less than 10 days ago. Yeah, their current form has been terrific. Also, they've not been conceding goals. They've left Gillespie out, so Derek White in defence, who's had a magnificent second half to the season. Bringing in Joe Miller, I'm sure they're looking for a bit of width to get basically at Robertson. And predictably, Toby Coyne probably on one of the substitutes. Milan Juventus, 10 o'clock tonight. The prize at Hampden, a place in the Scottish Cup final. Rangers are on a double, but it's 11 years now since they last won the Scottish Cup. For Celtic, it's the last chance of glory this season. They've met in each of the last 3 seasons in the Cup, and Celtic have won all 3.
The incredible current run of Old Firm Cup clashes started in 1989 when they met in the final. And Joe Miller's goal was enough to clinch it for Celtic. That was the last time Celtic won the Cup, and Rangers haven't been in the final since. The following season, the big two met in the 4th round at Parkhead.
Oh, the first half drawing to a close with Celtic on the attack again. Here's Tommy Coyne. Sideways to Jakanovski. Here's Joe Miller, and a great chance for Celtic. 1-0 to Celtic. Tommy Coyne and Joe Miller both played the goal.
Last year it was a 5th round tie, again at Parkhead.
Coyne get a touch, there's Craney! Celtic are ahead! Check with the free kick. That's well struck and deflected! 2-0 to Celtic!
So Celtic triumph again, and Rangers' Cup jinx continues. This season they've met 4 times in the league, and for the most part Rangers have been on top.
Hathley against Bonner. Brilliant play from Hathley. Rangers take the lead. That's played on well by Hathley for Johnston. Here's Hathley again. Switching to his left foot. It's a second for Rangers. Playing it in there to McCoist. Ali McCoist for Rangers. Spackman with the pass back to Cascarino, and he equalises for Celtic. Here's Dale Gold. This is a good chance for Rangers. Right on the half-time whistle. Cross to Hadley. Here's McCoist. It's first blood to Rangers right on the half-time whistle. Corner driven in, and a bogey header from Tony Mowbray. It's Hathley against Marshall. Beautifully taken penalty kick. Rangers are back in front. Gordon rounds in the middle. Alstra on the left. McCoist in the inside right position. Here's Brown going all the way himself. That settles it.
But 10 days ago, Celtic bounced back with their first win at Ibrox in 4 years and sounded a clear cup warning to Rangers.
Here comes Celtic. Charlie Nicholas scored a tremendous goal for Celtic. Getting ready.
So tonight, it's Liam Brady's boys versus Walter Smith's Teddy Bears.
Our bear and our boy at Hampden tonight, Terry Butcher and Martin Tyler. Martin, good evening to you.
Good evening to you, Richard. I don't think Terry really looks the part in his debut as a co-commentator tonight. Terry, you're always regarded here as a very passionate player. Now, we talk a lot about the drama of this occasion. What is it like to play him?
Well, tonight is going to be great. It's a really wet pitch, skiddy, everything else, just made for slide tackles. But after the pipe band, has finished playing. The blood's really flying here. You know, I wish I could be out there playing with the lads, but it's great to be playing tonight, and I'm sure that we'll have a great game.
What about the conditions? It's been slanting down with rain, but the pitch here has taken it all pretty well.
Yes, it's normally a very good pitch, a very good surface at Hampden. It's a bit skiddy. You can see the players kicking the ball about now and the ball's shooting off the turf. I think that just adds to the occasion. I think that adds to the spice, and there could be a few mistakes, there could be a few miscalculations on the part of defenders, so we could see a good few more chances than we thought we would see, so that could result in a few more goals.
Cheers, Terry. For the moment, back to you, Richard.
Martin, thank you. I love the sound of the pipes and the drums, don't you? What an evening we're in for. Martin Tyler and Terry Butcher. And Terry's part of our Sky Sports competition this evening. David Livingston has the details.
I'm here in the home dressing room at Hampden Park, and with me, in a manner of speaking, are two Old Firm legends. On my left, Caesar himself, Billy McNeill, the first British skipper to lift the European Cup, and the man who was Celtic's most successful ever captain. And on the other side, the man who helped revolutionise Rangers, Terry Butcher. These are limited edition prints produced by Hilton Arts of Paisley. Only 100 of each are being made, and one of them can be yours if you can tell us which player won a cup medal with Rangers against Celtic, and then with Celtic against Rangers.
Good question. Good question. Let's give it to you again. The only player to win a Scottish Cup medal with Rangers against Celtic, and then with Celtic against Rangers. Here's the address to send your answers to. Old Firm Cup Quiz, Sky Sports, PO Box 6, Isleworth, Middlesex, TW7 5QQ. Old Firm Cup Quiz, Sky Sports, PO Box 6, Isleworth, Middlesex, TW7 5QQ. The answer will be revealed on Andy Gray's Scottish football programme, which will be on Monday night next week. And don't forget to say which portrait you want. Good questions. Got these two thinking. Neither's come up with the answer yet. Don't now, for goodness sake, if you've got it. Good question, isn't it?
Yeah, excellent question. I haven't got a clue.
Nor have you.
I don't think, I'll tell you, playing for both clubs, I don't think you'll still be alive.
It wasn't Terry Hurley, that's for sure. What a night. Milan and Juventus, that's coming up at 10 o'clock. And we've got Celtic against Rangers. That is live here on Sky Sports at 8 o'clock. There's Hampden, wet, windy. Some night we're in for, mind. Stay with us. Back. You're watching Sky Sports. Great to have your company. I was just looking up and down the list of games around the country tonight. There's a stack of them. We'll keep you right up to date with everything that's happening. Full roundup of the results at around about 9:55. Milan against Juventus at 10 o'clock. We're live at Hampden. Celtic against Rangers at 8 o'clock. Paul Elliott and Ray Wilkins with us in the studios. Ray, Rangers, 11 years since they won the Scottish Cup. Can they break that run?
I think they can. The thing that Celtic have on them this evening is that they're really in top form. But I know it's an old cliche, form actually goes out the window when these two teams do meet. And I think we're in for a real cracking match.
Celtic, of course, as we mentioned, Paul, beat Rangers 10 days ago, 2-0, and convincingly as well, from what I'm told. We only saw the highlights here, but beat them well. And they've beaten them in the Scottish Cup in each of the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, well, in fact, I played in 2 of the games.
Yes.
1991. We beat them 1-0 and 2-0 respectively. So I do feel also the recent game where they beat them is inflicting a massive psychological wound in Rangers, and I think that will possibly be evident tonight.
So you're on Celtic, of course. Ray, you're with Rangers. Let's go to Hampden Park, where, as I've mentioned once or twice tonight, it's wet and it's windy, but we're in for some match. We really are. Commentators Terry Butcher and Martin Tyler.
Thanks, Richard. Hello again, everyone. Rarely can these two juggernauts of the Scottish game have been racing each other at such a pace. Rangers with a 4th consecutive Premier League title almost in their pockets. Celtic currently perfect preachers of the gospel, according to Liam Brady, with 12 straight wins. The depth of feeling for these great Glaswegian rivals has led to feuding amongst fans at times. There's no disguising that. But now, at a time when the game south of the border is in danger of being seriously damaged by bickering amongst administrators, the huge interest here is a timely reminder that football as an industry exists because of its supporters. That and they should not be forgotten. The conditions here are only really for the very partisan, particularly, well, the Rangers end is sheltered, but those who have come here with Celtic in their hearts are going to be drenched to their very socks. And I must say, Hampden Park is not a great advertisement for the facilities of the modern era. A crowd of 45,000, all the tickets sold, and all the owners of those tickets have come to the game. Terry Butcher, you came here from England to learn about the Scottish game, and your heart very much in it when you were a Rangers player. This is the essence of it.
Yes, it's a great night, a very difficult night for the players, really, if you consider the conditions, but they'll put all thoughts of the elements behind them firmly when they come onto the park, and they can hear the crowd. They've been out before, of course. The pitch hasn't cut up from their warm-up, so I think the pitch will last very well. Both sides really hell-bent on attacking football, and hopefully tonight we'll see a lot of goal.
Well, really, this is about more than just a game of football. It's the real fabric of life in Scotland, Rangers against Celtic. It is no night for neutrals. Every spectator here is totally committed one way or the other. Celtic with the best record of all in the Scottish Cup, and with 5 wins in a row over Rangers in this competition, including 3 in the last 3 seasons. The rain itself not a problem. The pitch has coped with it very well indeed. The wind was forecast to be at times gale force. That might make for greater difficulties. Andrew Waddle, the referee, leads out the 2 teams. Celtic spoilt for choice, really, the entire squad motivated by competition for places, but it's no surprise that after resting half the team on Saturday, they've gone back to the side which rather roasted Rangers at Ibrox 10 days ago. The one doubt was Joe Miller, who satisfied himself about a damaged knee yesterday and satisfied his manager today. A word on their formation from Terry Butcher.
Well, I think Celtic will play a 4-3-3 formation. Joe Miller can play the wide on the right or switch to the left-hand side. Rangers have 2 very good attacking fullbacks, so we'll try and peg one of them back. But it's a very strong midfield from Celtic, with obviously McStay, Collins and O'Neill in top-class form.
Rangers do have the greater team problems, with Mark Hateley and Alexei Mikhailichenko missing, but Dale Gordon and Stuart McCall have both made it, and Richard Gough is fit again. His steadying influence noticeable in its absence against Celtic the Saturday before last. With Ian Durrant at number 10, Walter Smith has selected 5 midfield players.
Well, Ian Durrant scored many times here for Rangers against Celtic, in finals especially, so it's his stage tonight. You'll probably see him making the runs from behind Ali McCoist into the gaps exploited in between the fullbacks and the centre-halves. They've pegged the 2 fullbacks back with Dale Gordon and Peter Hoosra. It's a very attacking line-up by Rangers, and indeed with Paul Rideout and John Spencer as the subs, they can change it if they want to a conventional 4-4-2 or conventional 4-3-3.
Ali McCoist, 29 goals this season. And with a goal breathtaking in its beauty, Charlie Nicholas chalked up Celtic's century for this season against Dundee United on Saturday. And Rangers have also passed the 100 mark. Andrew Waddle saw Rangers at close quarters on Saturday in charge of their match at St Johnstone, during which he brandished his yellow card 10 times and was showing his right wrist as having signs of writer's cramp. Old Firm games usually defy prediction. The elements adding to that unpredictability. It's a night for the strong of heart, And who'd have thought when the draw was made that Celtic would come into this semi-final in arguably the more buoyant condition of the two clubs, fresh from that inspired afternoon at Ibrox recently. And they are enjoying this splendid sequence of success, while the form of Rangers has rather dipped recently. And Celtic certainly freer from injuries than Walter Smith's squad. Gary Stevens, 10 is Durant. Dale Gordon, whose place tonight was in such doubt.
Already you can see Ian Durant getting in behind the Celtic left-back Tommy Boyd, making those runs in behind Dale Gordon. You'll see a lot of that today. A good ball by Gary Stevens, and Ian Durant's been off the ball. A real good early chance for Rangers now.
John Brown's come forward. Richard Gough is there as well. It comes towards McCoist, in fact. Gordon Marshall in the Celtic goal. Certainly not good conditions for goalkeepers. Here's Miller. The tackle by Durant. The early exchanges, ultra competitive. No surprise in that. Certainly not for the referee, who's tried to be very much on top of the tackling. Slip by Tony Mowbray. And then a missed kick by Spackman. Gary Stevens came in. Robertson. Tommy Boyd, back in Scotland after a fairly unfulfilling time with Chelsea. And the man who got his hands on the Scottish Cup, which is what it's all about tonight, of course, as Motherwell's captain last May. And here at Hampden in the semi-final last season, of course, Motherwell ended Celtic's hopes in a replay, and a most amazing night, a 4-2 win for Motherwell. And Celtic were very strong favourites. 4 up for Celtic, who have this cavalier approach. And Richard Gough not risking losing his footing by trying a quick change of direction. It's a Celtic free kick. John Collins to take it. And it was John Brown who missed it. Derek White, who got his first goal of the season on Saturday, not taken out of his stride by the ball beating Brown.
I think the wind took that one on. John Brown just slightly misjudged it there, and a good effort which looked a lot closer than it was.
The first evidence of the trickery of the wind. Durant. It was Morris who got it forward. Brown, who really is a great battler. That is a primary quality tonight. News from the Barclays First Division. Early leads for Arsenal and for Liverpool. Brown's clearance. Stayed in, snared in straight away. Here's White. Boyd outside him. Collins making a forward run ahead of Derek White, and Collins goes on. Nigel Spackman to try and just orchestrate this new midfield that Rangers have set out tonight. Here will hold for the most part. Typically rapid opening 5 minutes. And Craney trying to bring Nicholas really into the play for the first time.
I think you can just see that teams are trying to get used to the conditions. The ball's skidding off the surface very quickly. I think Celtic have settled down a lot quicker, and they're trying to pass the ball on the floor despite a very gale-force wind against them. But I think the game will start to develop now.
McCoist, Durant. Celtic coping well on the pitch despite the constant talking of the boardroom battles, but a foul here by Davie Robertson, and the yellow card is out. Davie Robertson has got sent off for that. So, a sensational start, and Rangers are livid with the referee.
Well, I frankly can't believe that decision at all.
Only 6 minutes gone.
I think when the ball was actually thrown out, the weather conditions held the ball up. Davie Robertson was indecisive whether to go to the ball. He then made his mind up, committed himself. I think Joe Miller's gone down, but as far as I'm concerned, that's a disgraceful decision.
Walter Smith would share that opinion, one would suspect. And now Rangers will have to play for 84 minutes with 10 men.
I might be controversial there. In fact, I'm going to be very controversial. I think, look, the way Joe Miller's walking around here, as if someone just patted him on the back. He's up and moving. The Rangers have got a player sent off. And now the Rangers really are up against it.
Well, every early tackle here under scrutiny, and Robertson wasn't going to get the ball.
I mean, really, that's a blatant obstruction, but for a player to get sent off like that, I think that's Joe. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people going to say, well, he deserved to get sent off. I think early in the game, referees got to allow players to make slight misjudgments when it comes to the conditions, but I frankly really at a loss for words.
Well, the referee now with McStay, the culprit for Celtic, being asked by Rangers to react in a similar way. It's simply a free kick. But what Andrew Waddle had to rule about was the intent of Davie Robertson's challenge, and he saw a cynicism there that led to him reaching for a red card, when I think most of us expected the yellow to be the more likely. But there is nothing in the laws of the game that says that evaluation of a foul has to be taken into account at what time it's committed in the match. Here's Miller. So Rangers with their backs to the wall. Here's White. Now Boyd. White again. Goff leading the race.
Rangers have now pulled Nigel Spackman back to centre-half, left centre-half, Richard Goff still right. John Brown's gone to left-back, and they're playing now 4-4-1. Dal Gordon outside right, of course, Peter Hoostra outside left, with Ian Durant and Stuart McCall in the centre of midfield, and Alan McCoist up front on his own. So the Rangers really are now up against it.
Well, the referee here made headlines in Scotland by booking 10 players on Saturday. You can be sure he's going to get more than a passing mention in tomorrow's papers. Here's Miller.
Well, Joe Miller's really made a remarkable recovery there. He's like a young man running them out.
White. Now Boyd. Problems for Spackman. Miller, the outlet again for Celtic. Morris has gone outside him. Here's Brian O'Neill. For Nicholas. It's a corner. The first real chance for Celtic to cash in on Rangers' state of mind and the state of their numbers now. They've pulled everyone back. Mowbray trying to get free. Here's Boyd. The linesman is flagging. Brian O'Neill, you saw there, who is the youngest player, embroiled in this match that's already lifted itself out of the ordinary. Semi-final of the Tennant Scottish Cup. The other semi-final on Saturday between Hearts and Airdrie. And Rangers, who feel that they, or at least their supporters feel, that there is a hoodoo in the Scottish Cup, must feel that it's happening to them again. The management have been playing it down. Well, the tenacity now of the likes of McCall in midfield, who's got Durant solidly alongside him, with Spackman withdrawn to centre-back and Brown at left-back. Liverpool have extended their lead against Notts County, whose place in the elite is certainly being threatened now. White, who really is fulfilling the promise he showed a couple of years ago. Off goes Boyd. With that sense of adventure down the left, well covered by Spackman. Well, Celtic with a real chance to take control now. O'Neill. And just in the act of shooting, Peter Houster got a challenge in on Jerry Craney.
I think what Celtic have to do now really is to just keep passing the ball, get their flank men going and try and extend Rangers and use that extra man. I think what Rangers have got to do now is to just be patient, because the way some of the tackles are flying in, it could result in another man getting sent off, because you can understand the Rangers players' frustration, but at the same time they must keep their heads and keep their shape. But if Celtic keep passing the ball as they have been doing, then I can see them starting to take the game to Rangers and perhaps get a goal.
Terry Craney, who's got 6 goals in the 3 Scottish Cup ties this season. 14 of those 22 have come in his last 11 games. He really is on a roll. He's been scoring for Scotland's under-21 side, who had that spectacular success against Germany last week. He was a scorer in that game. Hit long by Goff, and it took Tony Mowbray not by surprise, but I think he was in the end concerned that McCoist might reach a ball that he'd left.
I think sometimes when you're playing centre-halves and you've only got one person to mark, or the back four's only got one person to mark, you can be a bit loose in the mind and not really concentrate on your job there. And it just proved that one through ball could beat all 4, and the ball just skidded off the wet surface into Gordon Marshall's hands. But Celtic must still be alert, of course, for any threat from Rangers.
Gordon. The Rangers supporters questioning every tackle after what happened to Robertson. Boyd just penalised. It's a free kick to Rangers. We've had 15 minutes at Hampden Park. Durant. Oh, Brown intervened. It might have got through to Gordon, who was Durant's target, I think. Gordon Marshall, who has played a big part in Celtic's revival after a difficult start under the management of Liam Brady. At Rangers addressing their challenge very positively. Here's McCall for Gordon, who's got space. Brown's in the centre. It's Durant's shot. And it's a very gutsy reaction so far to the loss of Davie Robertson.
Good bit of skill here by Dale Gordon on the edge of the box. Actually, John Brown had stayed up well on the far post. Rangers had men over there. John Brown nip. The ball just goes wide. The Rangers had men in attack there. Numbers on the far post, and so far, I mean, after that sending off, the game really, you know, developing into a very open and even match.
Well, it is the stuff of which legends are made, Old Firm games. Certainly would go down in the annals if Rangers could come through this one way or the other, whether they won tonight or got a replay. No extra time in this game. Morris with the header. McStay.
Celtic seem to have just slipped back a little bit. They just McStay hitting a long, hopeful ball there, long high ball, which is unusual for him. And Celtic just lost a bit of steam. Rangers now coming back into the game a lot more.
Well, without going back to the debate on the sending off, it is becoming more commonplace for players now. As the referee reaches for the notebook again for Mowbray. I was going to say it's more commonplace for players to be used to be playing 10 against 11, 11 against 10. I just wondered for a second whether we were going to get 10 against 10 here. But that is not the case. For the moment, one might conjecture.
I think the referee set his stall out early on when he sent Davie Robertson off there, and as soon as Alan McCoy was fouled, he was back on his feet, straight up, running back up front. And with Joe Miller staying down, obviously, things will go through the referee's mind.
That's O'Neill's pass. It's Miller's cross. It's Craney going in. And Spackman claiming Craney went in a provocative manner. It was a better move by Celtic.
Celtic kept the ball down well there, good early cross and a good defensive header away for a corner. But Celtic kept the ball on the floor. They're playing into a very stiff wind, and by keeping the ball on the floor, they expose Rangers on the flanks.
On the corner missed both the big centre-backs, White and Mowbray. House clears. McCoy's having a good look round to see what help there is. There isn't too much, but he's held it up superbly. Durant. Help from Stevens. Jordan's got into the middle with Houstra. Steered away by White. Now O'Neill. Miller. Rangers have got to play with their heads as well as their hearts. But they've got back. Craney slipped before the ball could reach him. Volleyed away by Brown. Boyd. Now McStay, whose main weapon is his finesse. And Celtic really have the opportunity now to control the pace of the game. They don't have to be quite so cavalier, but that is their nature. And in trying to hurry themselves, they're not really helping their cause in these circumstances. Handball there by Halstra.
I think players of both sides have got to stay on their feet really in really slippery conditions. They mustn't go to ground unless they're absolutely sure.
Morris with the free kick. McStay. This is White. A touch from Collins. Nicholas. And it's just skipped off the sodden turf beyond Joe Miller.
I'm sure that Liam Brady will be saying to his team now, just keep passing the ball. They've got good width of Boyd on the left and Joe Miller wide on the right. If they keep passing the ball across, trying to pull Rangers defenders across the park, I'm sure they'll have success. They can play little balls into the box with Craney and Charlie Nicholas, but if they keep playing the ball wide, they will stretch Rangers back four.
Celtic against Rangers, you're watching live on Sky Sports. The semi-final of the Tennant Scottish Cup, the first between the old firm for 32 years. Well, Rangers tonight would settle for a replay and the chance to repeat that success of 1960. If you missed the frantic early minutes here, Davie Robertson sent off after 6 minutes. But Celtic haven't been able to capitalise on that. Halstra. A foul by Morris. Durant. McCoy's, beautiful touch for Durant. McCoy's on for the return ball. It's played him a bit wide. Gordon's coming into the centre. And Celtic rather lucky to get away with that, and only a corner conceded. Lovely interplay between McCoist and Durant in the first place, but the ball back to Ali McCoist was just a touch too strong.
I mean, Ian Durant, Ali McCoist are great pals off the park, and they link together very well there.
Oh, Goff, it almost came to him, it did to Brown, and then he took it away from McCall. Out by McStay, Halstra met it solidly for Rangers. McCall, Stevens coming in. Still Stevens. He claims a corner, he's not going to get it.
Well, despite having 10 men, Rangers really have been more in the Celtic box than Celtic have in Rangers. They've really took the game to Celtic. They've got good play going down the flanks. Alan McCoy is really proving elusive up front for the two centre-halves, and Ian Durant's linking well off him, and I'm sure that Rangers now will be fired up, and they've really come onto their game in the last 5 or 10 minutes.
No one more fired up than Gary Stevens, who's had to live with his mistake here in the last Old Firm final of the Scottish Cup in '89, which let Joe Miller in for the only goal of the game. Durant, here come Rangers again. This really is almost beyond the call of duty in the circumstances. Halstra. Morris gets the header in. Now Boyd. Immediately Celtic send a whole pack of players forward, 4 of them. Collins is one of them, but he's adjudged to have pushed.
I think we'll see a lot more. I mean, that was definitely a foul. We'll see a lot more of Tommy Boyd coming down that left flank. Dale Gordon went inside on one of the Rangers' attacks, and it was up to Ian Durrant to get out there in that wide position. But as soon as Tommy Boyd gets any space, he really exploits it, and it's developing now into a very good game of football.
No problems for Blackburn. A goal down to Port Vale. And Ipswich, on the other hand, looking more and more like a team bound for promotion. I'll keep you up to date throughout this mammoth evening of football for you on Sky Sports. Remember the first leg of the semi-final of the Italian Cup coming up straight after this extravaganza at Hampden Park. Milan against Juventus. You can't get much bigger than Celtic against Rangers and Milan against Juventus on the same bill. Here's Miller. Houstra blocking off Celtic as much as he can on this side of the pitch. McStay gets beyond him, and Durrant made contact with the ball. Ian Durrant really revelling in this particular challenge. O'Neill. And Spackman turns it back safely.
Honestly, Martin, you think Nigel Spackman has played there all his life. He's really settled down to that left central role with Richard Gough, and is mopping everything Celtic can throw at him. And he's looking really solid, really strong. Ian Durrant's got more into the game now for Rangers. It's a good contest in the middle of the park with Paul McStay, and you know, hopefully we'll see a goal or two now.
On the subject of Durrant, he's just been rewarded for his great fight for fitness by a new contract from Rangers. In 1988, his injury that looked as though it might cripple his career. Celtic have had the edge in the competition between these two colossuses. Colossi, I suppose I should say. Latin was never my strong suit. Gough. And in the Scottish Cup, in the Old Firm meetings, 19 wins for Celtic to 11 for Rangers, and certainly Celtic have a wonderful chance here to improve that ratio. And remember, Rangers haven't scored a goal in the Scottish Cup against Celtic since 1973. That's 5 matches over the last 19 years. If they score one tonight in their difficulties, well, that would be something. McStay's tackle. Plenty of time on the ball for Brian O'Neill. Rangers concentrating on really defending on the edge of their penalty area. McCall with the interception. And Ali McCoist trying to make himself available as the one out-and-out forward. He was always going to play like that, really, the way Rangers started with 11, with Durrant operating just behind him, and certainly isolated now. Morris, who's a lucky charm for Celtic. He's never been on the losing side with them in almost 5 years now in a Scottish Cup tie.
Celtic really should just keep passing the ball to each other. They're moving the ball from right to left, not that quickly, but if they were a bit slicker with their passing, hit the ball to feet and stretch Rangers, I'm sure that ploy would work dividends for them. The pitch is very skiddy, of course, but if they just keep passing the ball and be patient, I'm sure they'll get through.
But it's the habits, Terry, isn't it? When you've got the extra man, it's hard to break the habits when you're used to playing even numbers.
I think, especially with the atmosphere the way it is now, and it's all blood and thunder and everything else, I think that everybody's lunging in for tackles, and you're very hot-headed and everything else.
Here's Gordon. Rangers not short of numbers in the centre. Well, McStay did that superbly. Taken on the burst by Miller. And Stevens using his exceptional speed. For once, Celtic looked as though they might get behind Rangers then. Out by Brown. Will be retrieved here by Miller. White. 4 in the penalty area wearing Celtic's green and white hoops, and still waiting for the ball to join them. Might come here for Miller. Knocked away solidly by Spackman, held up well by McCoist. And then McCall, not quite on the same wavelength as Ali McCoist. He hit it long, McCoist wanted it back to his feet.
Good play by Celtic, though. They're really knocking the ball about well. They're being patient, they're knocking balls into the box. If things aren't working, then they're just starting again. They're being very patient now.
Durant. Gordon's offside, or at least that's the way the linesman saw it. Donald Wilson on the far side. But the whistle had gone in any case. And it will go again. John Brown carrying the fight to Celtic. Brought down by Miller, who wants to debate the issue. Joe Miller not the favourite with the Rangers fans at the moment.
Now Mr. Waddle chose not to go for his pocket there. For a change, I should say.
McCoist having a good look at this. Durant asking the referee to get the Celtic ball fully back. Ali McCoist has paced out a run like a fast bowler. Wasn't much disguising his intentions. Back from Spackman. Oh, and Morris was sent flying there by Durant, who lashed out afterwards as well. The referee didn't see that. This is Dale Gordon. Well, Celtic were very slow to close him down.
Good play once again by Ian Durant. A lot of space for Dale Gordon here. He sizes it up well, just wide of the post. The Rangers have had about 3 or 4 shots now, whereas Celtic, with all their possession play and with one-man advantage, really haven't troubled Andy Gorham.
33 fast and furious minutes have gone by. McCall. And Rangers holding their own against the odds. A rarity really for Rangers. They came into the game not as the favourites that one would have expected a few weeks ago. And now this is an innocent collision, but nonetheless one that the referee's got to deal with. Richard Gough is the Rangers player hurt, and Jerry Craney also suffered.
I think that just proves how much both players wanted to win the ball there. It was a ball held up by the wind, and both players challenged the ball there. 2 honest players going for the ball. Both having a headache tomorrow morning, I would think.
Just a word on Richard Gough, Terry. You played alongside him, of course. Rangers have lost 7 games in all this season, and he's been missing from 4 of them, and I don't think that's a coincidence.
No, he is a great player. He's very fit, he organises well. He leads from the front, he leads by example, and I think with a player like him, when he's out of the team, I think it's a very hard space to fill. He'll need now all his powers of persuasion, all his motivational techniques to keep the Rangers players going. He must be quite pleased with the way Rangers have stuck to their task now, and Ali McCoist, every ball out of defence he picks up. I think either Mowbray or Derek White must get tighter to Ali McCoist and stop him from getting the long balls out. And if they can do that, Celtic, then they can stop Rangers' supply, because Rangers are getting out with nearly every ball that goes forward. Ali, because he's in between two defenders, can pick the ball up very, very easily, and Rangers are getting out. If they stop that, then I think that they can keep the pressure on the Rangers' back four.
While you were talking, Terry, the ball was thrown back by Tom Boyd to Rangers, which was a sign that although there is a great deal at stake, and although we've had a sending off, this is by no means a sinister match.
No, I think both sets of players want to win this match by playing football. Despite what's happened early on in the game, they still want to play their football and score goals.
Brown, now Halstra. It's behind McCoist and not far enough for Gordon. Durant in snappily again. Well, he's got to play it the way he's facing. Brian O'Neill sorted that.
There's a good contest between Brian O'Neill and Ian Durant there. Two youngsters, I'm sure, with big futures.
Yes, Ian Durant wanting to make up for lost time. Boyd.
And once again, Nigel Spackman comes across as a sweeper, reads it brilliantly and plays it back. Celtic just about a foot or 2 feet off the mark with their passes to the front men. Brian O'Neill's trying to make runs in behind Jerry Craney and Charlie Nicholas. It hasn't quite come off yet.
And they don't have the explosive pace in the centre of their attack to really get in behind Spackman.
No, but what they are doing is trying to pull the two Rangers centre halves out of position and allowing Brian O'Neill to come into that gap.
Durant making sure that if Rangers have the ball, that they're not in trouble. The flag has stayed down, and this is Craney, and that's wasted by Celtic.
That was a good chance for Celtic, slightly on his wronger foot there. They had men over on the far post. A good break. I didn't think it was offside from our vantage point. They're about 5 miles up in the clouds here. Didn't think it was offside, but once again Celtic, just that final ball into the box, a better quality ball into the box with the swirly conditions and everything else. I'm sure that they could latch upon something in that area.
You have to really examine the psychology of this situation. When was the last time Celtic were in a position where so much was expected of them against Rangers?
I think it was last year.
Well, I suppose when the quarter-final, when 3 players were sent off from Rangers in a match which really did get out of hand from the point of view of lack of discipline by the players. Peter Brown of Celtic went as well. But even if at that time, Terry, Celtic weren't carrying all before them with a succession of previous results as they have been this time. Now Gordon mistiming a tackle.
I think this will be interesting for Mr. Waddle.
Dale Gordon on his feet straight away, wanting to protest that his intentions were honourable, even if the outcome wasn't.
I think he definitely plays the man there. I'm not too sure if Mr. Waddle's done anything there.
And he's gone across to check the condition of Tom Boyd.
Dale he just commits himself there, then plays the player, and just make sure that he does go down. Mr. Waddle, I don't think he's taken any action there. I can't really see much difference between that incident and the incident involving Davie Robertson early in the game.
I suppose the only thing you could say is it was a tackle of not a natural defender.
Yes, very.
Let's have a word with David Livingston down on the touchline. David.
Yes, Martin, it's frenetic and very wet down here, of course. The Celtic dugout is the one where all the unhappiness is at the moment, quite clearly. They obviously feel that they haven't exploited this one-man advantage. Tommy Craig went out a short time ago, the number 2 to Liam Brady, went out and he gave Joe Miller a roasting for not pulling them wide enough and not exploiting that advantage down that particular flank. I think the Rangers bench, after the early disappointment, are feeling much happier at the moment.
But there's still a long way to go. Thanks, David. They've got 5 minutes left in the first half, and Rangers have done more than simply hold out since the red card was brandished in the face of Davie Robertson. They have played in an organised way. They've tried to limit the damage. Here's Collins. Spackman got to it, but there was some pushing by Craney.
I think Nigel Spackman's having a storm at the heart of the Rangers' defence. He's been pulled back there, obviously. He's playing well, he's timing every ball in the end, very difficult conditions, and he's organising his team as well. He's playing as if he's played there all his life.
Well, I don't think that we need the words on the picture. Conditions speak for themselves from our camera, where the cover is being blown off it. Hallström. Now McCoist. Broken up by Derek White. Rescued again for Rangers by McCall when it looked as though they might find Celtic catching them out. O'Neill. Now Miller. Nicholas and Craney holding in the centre. Miller running the ball out of play.
When that ball goes wide, Joe Miller, I'm sure he should be looking up, seeing if he can play the ball into Jerry Craney or Charlie Nicholas's feet there, round about the edge of the box. He's drawing 2 Rangers players over to him, and with the numerical advantage, any balls into the box, Rangers could be in trouble.
Here comes Celtic again, trying to put the pieces into the right place in the jigsaw. Nicholas, a little poked return pass towards Craney, brought out by Gordon, who was wanting too long, and then the referee really had an opportunity to give a free kick either way. There was certainly a subsequent foul by Gordon. McCoist. McCall joining in well. Across from Durant. McCoist herring in. Gordon Marshall keeping his eye on the ball, which was fortunate. I don't think he would have liked what he saw with McCoist raising his foot.
Great goalkeeping by Gordon Marshall. Takes the ball very clean, eye on the ball all the time. Great goalkeeping.
Mowbray. We went to the final minute of the first half, in which the pattern was set when David Robertson was sent off after 6 minutes. The pattern being that Celtic had to pick their passes, play perhaps with a little more thought, and Rangers rolling up their sleeves and resolved here, if they can, to battle it out in adversity, and they're making a pretty good job of it.
I think Rangers will just be content just to see this half out, go and have a cup of tea, have a chat from Walter Smith, and then really just gird themselves for the second half. I'm sure Celtic will be going into a bit of a roasting from Liam Brady, so I'm sure that he won't be happy with the way, with the man advantage, they haven't got a goal.
Well, Celtic letting McCall get away. McCoist! He scored! Right on the 45 minutes. Against all the odds. of extravagant celebration. McCoist is almost in tears of joy and disbelief. The 10 men have taken the lead at Hampden Park.
Lovely ball by Stuart McCall, just nicely weighted. Ali takes it first time. He just gets a hand to it, Gordon Marshall. Very unlucky not to see that past the post. Good, cool play by Stuart. Goes to shoot, squares a lovely pass. Just adjusted his feet and a lovely finish inside the post. Just when I said that Rangers were content to sit out the first half, they come and score.
His 30th goal, but that's a minor consideration. In situations such as this, that Rangers find themselves here, heroes are made. And they have one here in Ali McCoist right at the end of the first half. A first half that had a sensational beginning with Davie Robertson sent off after 6 minutes and a sensational conclusion. Celtic got themselves into difficulties, very much of their own making, and McCall went and tackled tenaciously, having got the ball, delivered it perfectly, and Ali McCoist doing what comes instinctively. And incredibly, at half-time at Hampden, it's Celtic 0, Rangers 1.
Not bad, is it? Our television here has jumped once or twice, I can tell you. 1-0 to Rangers at half-time at Hampden. Ray Wilkins, Ali McCoist deserved it, didn't he? Run his little legs off.
I think he's had a super half, yeah. But I think that the whole of the Rangers side, since the unfortunate sending off, I think they've collectively been very good. And Ali's been super up front because he hasn't allowed the ball to bounce off him. When you're playing with 10 men, you must retain possession of the ball when you get the chance. And here we see Stuart McCall going through. I was saying hold it and commit the defender, but he plays a lovely ball through. And there's no one more deadly than Ali when he gets in that position. I thought Stuart would go on here and commit, I think it's White in defence there. He doesn't, he slips a super ball through. And that's a very difficult shot for a goalkeeper to save on such a skiddy surface, and it's right in the corner. But I think no more than they deserve. I think Rangers, obviously I'm going to be slightly biased, but I think they've been slightly the better team since the sending off. I thought Celtic settled down very well indeed, but since that sending off, I think Rangers have been the better side.
Now, what about that sending off, Paul?
Well, contrary to Terry's opinion, I'll take a different view. As you can see, Joe Miller actually plays the ball, and Robertson generally makes a challenge there, which, as far as I'm concerned, totally justifies the sending off. I mean, you can see here, Joe Miller is the favourite. He places the ball past his left side, and as you can even see there,
no intention other than to do that, was there?
And also Robertson follows him with his right elbow as well. So, as far as I'm concerned, he's got to go.
I have to say, it didn't surprise us here. I think all three of us were thinking that way, weren't we, that it was a possible red card?
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, the ref has set his stall out. He wanted to calm things down. And once there was the initial contact, there was every possibility he was going to get
Just to
sent
prove
off.
he's not biased, Ray, I think you'd agree with the decision too, wouldn't you?
I would do, yeah, but looking more from a footballer's point of view, Robertson, he's never going to win that ball. From 20 yards out, as soon as the ball's at Joe Miller's feet, he's never going to win the ball. He only had to steady himself, and he would possibly have got the ball that Joe Miller was going to play down the line.
1-0 to the 10 men. Rangers 1, Celtic 0. We'll be back at Hampden after these. Stay where you are.
Just Ali up the front. They've got to get more players forward and create a lot more things.
We've got to move the ball about, in short.
Yeah, well, I feel that they didn't get as much use out of Miller as they would have liked. Basically, once the sending off was, I felt they should have passed the ball a bit more positively, a bit more progressively. I'd like to see Crane and also Nicholas get into the game in the second half, because they've not really had a shot. For all the play that I felt Celtic have had at various times, they've never really hit the target.
And Rangers, Ray, have got to keep their heads.
Yes, they've got to keep compact and keep their heads. It is one of these games where it could possibly happen that the next sending off could be another Ranger, and we don't really want that to happen for the game itself. But I'm sure if they keep compact, Celtic have got to come forward, and we might see a few more counter-attacks and hopefully a few more goals.
Great night of football here on Sky Sports. Milan and Juventus at 10 o'clock. All the scores as they happen between now and then. Full round-up at 9:55. Back to Hampden, Terry Butcher and Martin Tyler.
10 days ago, Rangers gave what they described as their worst performance of the season against Celtic. Tonight, they've given 45 minutes of surely their most gallant efforts, adorned by Ali McCoist's goal right on half-time. No substitutions at half-time. Celtic do have the wind at their backs in the second half. Here's Collins. We have seen relatively little of Jerry Craney and Charlie Nicholas as an attacking force. Andy Gorham has not been called upon to do anything particularly difficult in the Rangers' goal. And to all intents and purposes, you could imagine, if you'd missed the opening 6 minutes, that we've been watching 11 against 11. So well the Rangers compensated for their loss. Richard Gough, of course, a major influence. Here's Craney. Well, John Brown was completely deceived by the flight of the ball. Joe Miller did pretty well to make any contact at all.
I would say that was really half a chance. He's coming into it well, just overbalanced. I would say that was more than half a chance. That was a good chance for Joe Miller. A chance that Celtic really wanted early in the second half.
Good turn by Craney. McCall tigerish again as he was when he set up the goal. McCoist getting the better of White. Boyd's running to the centre to help Mowbray out should reinforcements be required, but they weren't.
Once again, Ali McCoist proving his worth there. Great ball across the park after he won the ball from Derek White.
Here's O'Neill. Miller coming in field. Boyd letting it run. This is Collins. O'Neill joining Craney and Nicholas.
Rangers can't afford to back off too far into the box because the way Celtic coming in, firing shots on this skiddy surface, anything can go in.
Charlie Nicholas a little annoyed that he took the pace off the ball well enough, but it ran back away from the goal. Craney. And Miller again coming in on the blind side of Rangers, beyond the far post, as he did when he stretched and lunged for the ball a minute or so ago.
I think Rangers, they can't press back too far. The back four have got to keep out of that box and give Andy Gorham a chance to come out. The way the ball's moving about in the air, it's going to be difficult to judge, but they can't keep on top of the goalkeeper because any slight deflection then and the ball's in the back of the net. So Rangers must keep out and not allow these crosses to go in.
Well, that won't be easy, given that it's going to be hard enough for Rangers against the wind to get the ball out of their own half, let alone against opposition that have an extra player. Here's Mowbray, who scored against Rangers on New Year's Day. Celtic lost that one 3-1. Brown. Taking too long, or is it? He must have heard the warning cries from his teammates as Joe Miller made up the ground.
There's a good chance for Celtic there with Jerry Craney just slipping at the vital moment. They put some, together 2 or 3 good passes there, and they had a man over on the far side, but just a slip by Jerry Craney allowed the move to fizzle out.
Nicholas with the dummy, but it went beyond Craney. They were a bit too close together to try that in these conditions.
Celtic, though, starting the match, the second half, as we thought they would do, really taking the game to Rangers. Collins has pushed more wide into this left side here. He's chasing the ball out. He's come more as a conventional 4-4-2 now, Celtic, with good width with Miller and Collins on the flanks.
Barry Stevens right on top of John Collins. McStay. Can he provide the inspiration? Rangers leading by a goal to 0. Miller. It was Nicholas who tried to flick it on from the ball forward by Morris. Halstra. Belted away by Brown. Rangers have got to try and find a way to get out of their own half. Otherwise, the pressure will surely tell. McCoist. And still they can't get away. O'Neill. And even the kicking from the goalkeeper is going to be affected now. Andy Gorham really concentrating on getting clean contact here. And it has gone a good way. Gorham, a goalkeeper, who scored with a long clearance in his Hibs days. Halstra. Well, they thought for a second, Rangers, that they would make something on the break again. But the whistle has gone. Halstra had McCoist up alongside him.
In defence of Mr. Waddle there, he was very close to the incident and obviously had a very good idea of what was the foul.
Mowbray. Now Morris. Craning. For Nicholas. Terry, you had an opportunity to analyse the sending-off incident again during half-time. No second thoughts?
No, none at all. I didn't think it was a sending-off at the time. And having seen it during half-time, I'm still of the same opinion. It seemed to have really fired Rangers on that sending-off, as if they weren't fired up already, and it seemed to have a really bad effect on Celtic. And it's going to be a familiar story, I think, in this second half of Celtic, getting the ball at the back, Mowbray and White, getting the ball out to the full-backs and really penning Rangers back. But to their credit, Rangers sticking to their guns, winning, trying to win every tackle. Obviously now, I'm sure that Liam Brady would have had a word with their centre-halves at half-time, with Mowbray and with Derek White, to try and stop Ally McCoist's threat.
McCall. For both camps, a match of massive importance. Liam Brady says it's his biggest game since he took over in charge of Celtic. It speaks for itself in Scotland. If you're watching elsewhere in Britain, you really must understand the emotions that are being unleashed here.
Well, I thought that was a fair tackle by Peter Hoekstra, who went for the ball with his right foot, was normally his weaker foot. The referee obviously thought otherwise.
Goff decisively up above Mowbray. Here's McStay. Surely in Celtic's best interest to play the game as wide as they can. Try and stretch the depleted resources. McCall can't get hit away. It's another mistimed tackle by Gordon. Collins. McCall is there. McCoist went in with foot raised, but Mowbray's tough enough to take that. Collins. Craney and Nigel Spackman sensing the danger and dealing with it. He's not a complete stranger to playing in the centre of defence. I can recall him with his English clubs having to help out in that area at times in emergencies. And, it's deflected against the post. O'Neill's shot.
A real let-off for Rangers there, a real let-off.
Is it going to be Rangers' lucky night? It is Nicholas. Well, that's the closest they've come by a long, long way.
Actually, on that corner, Celtic had 3 men against 2 on the far post of Rangers. The Rangers 2, I think it was Richard Goff and Nigel Spackman, went in with the 2 Celtic players, leaving Tony Mowbray free on the far post. And Luckily for Rangers and unluckily for Celtic, the ball dropped to Charlie Nicholas, who just couldn't quite get his crossover. But a real let-off for Rangers, and Celtic got to keep their heads and just keep believing in themselves, keep believing that the goal will come, because it's now is not the time to panic and throw caution to the wind. Celtic must keep calm and keep passing the ball.
We've had almost 10 minutes of the second half. Were there enough suggestions from Rangers players that there was a dive that time by Miller, and Andrew Waddle, the referee, has clearly been of the same mind. It's a throw to Rangers. Harder in the second half for Ian Durrant, who was outstanding in the first 45 minutes to make an impact. Rangers having to concentrate on their defending. Pure and simple. It's a corner.
Good play by Tommy Boyd, taking the ball wide there. Very good pace. And Gary Stevens, obviously, great recovery as well.
Well, Tommy Boyd, a Celtic supporter as a boy, with a run there that we didn't see too often from him in that style at Chelsea. He feels at home here. Oh, that's handball. Mowbray launched everything at it. And deliberate handball is a dangerous thing to do these days. It's a soft landing for Ian Durrant. That's about the only consolation.
Here comes the corner. A good ball into the box, a good pacey cross. Men going up for it. And up goes the hand. Now, Tony Mowbray's got to be slightly fortunate there. He's already been booked in this match, and deliberate handball obviously could be deemed by the referee to be worthy of another caution. Ian Durrant just taking a breather. It's nice to see Ian Durrant involved there. I'm surprised that he was picking up Tony Mowbray on the far post.
Probably not by choice.
Well, mind you, he really is a game lad, and I'm sure that if somebody asked him to do it, he would do it well.
McCoist. Rangers with the luxury of having 4 players in the Celtic half. Spackman. The longer it goes on, the more nervous you feel Celtic might become. Craney. Here's Miller. Joe Miller again, and that was definite contact with the ball by Dale Gordon. He's been off target a few times tonight in his tackling.
Once again, the final pass by Celtic is very astray there. If only they'd look up. If Joe Miller would look up on the right-hand side, he's got 2 men over on the far post here. Tommy Boyd, I think, and Collins. They've got men over on the far post. If only they could switch the play early.
That's brilliant control by McCoist. But Boyd rescued it for Celtic. O'Neill lets it run. Miller's the man over, and he's been forced wide by Nicholas. Morris. McStay. Boyd's come in field to try and get involved. Here he is. Collins wide on the left. O'Neill. Morris with a chance to measure his cross. Gary Stevens coping. And McCall getting a foot in for Rangers. Houster trying to run it away. And that's McStay with a body check. Not too dissimilar from Davie Robertson's.
Good use of the left arm there by Paul McStay.
Well, what do you make of that in relation to what happened early in the first half?
Well, there's been so many incidents following the sending off that it's very hard to say which was right and which was wrong there. I think a split-second decision by Paul McStay there, and Peter Hooser goes crashing to the ground. I mean, the referee could have taken action there. He set a precedent with sending off Davie Robertson, so he could have taken former Stays name, but that wasn't to be.
Mike Galloway on for 19-year-old Brian O'Neill. Galloway, who is a versatile character. It's like for like. He's gone into that position on the right of the centre of Celtic's midfield alongside McStay. And one thing Mike Galloway does possess is a terrific shot.
He's very good in the air as well, coming the far post, and it seems that McStay's the one that's going to sit and be the playmaker, and Galloway's going to make the runs. At times, Celtic playing with 4 men up, with Miller and also with Collins pushed onto a wide left position. They've virtually got 4 men against Rangers back 4.
Joe Timmins, the 4th official, just going down to Walter Smith there.
I think Walter was just a bit stiff, just trying to stretch his legs.
And warm up his jaw as well, by the look of it.
And I'm sure that's pretty warm at this time.
And Walter Smith has a conservative image, really. Looks more like a bank manager than a football manager at times. But he's certainly stamped his own image on Rangers since emerging from the shadows of Graham Souness. And he would love to be the manager to end this hoodoo in the Scottish Cup that Rangers have had 11 years since they last lifted the trophy. And the ball eventually returned by a somewhat circuitous route. It's the Rangers fans who wanted to hang on to it and use up some time, but Andrew Waddle was pointing to his watch. He knew what was going on, as we all did. Here's White. Boyd. Collins. Just to back up Terry Butcher's point, Mike Galloway got into the position at the far post, then had a cross come in from Celtic. White. Rangers hassling and harassing, and now trying to break forward with Gordon. The tackle was from behind. It was the angle that took the referee's eye. A foul against Tom Boyd.
I thought that was a perfectly good tackle myself. Yes, there we are. Wins the ball well.
Yeah, it looked a perfectly good tackle on that replay, didn't it?
I mean, that's Tommy's strongest foot anyway, his right foot, so I thought that was a good tackle.
Stevens with the free kick. Rangers with a bit of breathing space up here.
And I thought that was a foul.
But it's not been given. It's a throw to Celtic. Easy game to referee from up here, Terry.
Well, he's having a very busy time tonight. One or two funny decisions, but at least he's been consistent anyway.
Galloway. Oh, he's hit it beautifully. And it nearly knocked Andy Gorham over. Down the wind. Very much worth the crack. And very nearly the ultimate reward. And Celtic certainly improving the number of shots. They were very much below what one would have expected in the circumstances from them in that respect in the first half. Mowbray. McStay. White. Always plenty of room for Celtic in these areas. This is where it gets tight now. Boyd. McStay. He can line one up, and the ball just a little too far to his right, and he couldn't get his foot round it. But Galloway had by far the better effort.
He gets onto his right foot. There's only one thought in his mind here. He's going to crash and hit it. I think Andy Gorham slightly unsighted there, but gets two hands on the ball. Didn't try and catch it, didn't try and hug it to his chest or whatever, just made sure that the ball didn't go in the net.
almost 20 minutes gone in the second half. Rangers still leading. Ali McCoy's the man. Here he is. Durant's getting through the centre. Gordon's making tracks as well. Throw to Celtic. 25 minutes left.
I think if I was Liam Brady here, I'd be saying get the ball out to the wide men and get the crosses into the box. I think when the ball comes back inside for McStay, people to have a shot. Apart from the Galloway shot, the shots have been mainly off target. Get the ball wide and get the crosses in, because the ball moving about in the air. Celtic have got Galloway on the far post coming in and everything else. They've got good numbers in the box. So get the ball in the box as early as you can.
Oh, unlucky Ian Durant. There was certainly a pass on that would have threatened Celtic to McCoist. Durant has another chance. McCoist covered this time. McCall. Oh, it very nearly ran on through for Gordon.
A good bit of tidying up from Mike Galloway there.
Rangers, all their outfield players expending extra energy. But so far, that hasn't proved to be too big a problem. Look at Nigel Spackman go. He's gone too far.
He's got to get back now. A good run by Nigel Spackman, but with that extra man, just no support for him. He's back in defence now.
Collins. Now Boyd. That was Stevens. McCoist coming back, trying to make it his. McCall was a bit late on parade that time. McStay. That's got to be a good policy from Celtic.
Once they can see the whites of the goal, Celtic should shoot all the time, like McStay then and like Galloway. But when that ball gets wide, they should just get the ball into the box.
Neat work from Durant. McCoy saw Gordon, tried to find him. And Liam Brady really confirming what I'm sure you've all felt. We haven't seen too much of Charlie Nicholas tonight. He's had a purple patch recently. He scored in each of the last 3 Celtic games. But Tommy Coyne replaces him halfway through the second half. Coyne now of the Republic of Ireland, as well as Celtic, scored on his international debut against Switzerland last week.
He has a habit of scoring against Rangers in cup ties as well. He'll inject a bit of pace up front for Celtic.
This is Mowbray. Rangers trying to keep their shape. And they'll be quite happy if Celtic use the ball like that.
I think it's time now for Paul McStay to really get hold of the ball and really dictate to his centre-halves and his back four. He wants to get hold of that ball and get the ball wide. If Celtic keep the ball moving and keep nice and fluent in their passing, they really will stretch the Rangers' defence. At the moment, everybody's trying to do too much on the ball. Everybody's trying to hit the killer pass. Everybody's trying to make sure that the ball goes into the back of the Rangers' net. They just keep the ball moving and keep passing, keep Rangers working. Rangers must tire soon.
We should stress again, Terry, that it is very difficult to pick the pass perfectly in this terrible wind.
Yes, but Rangers are dropping off. They are allowing Celtic to have not total domination of midfield, but they are allowing Celtic to have a lot of balls in midfield. And if Celtic could just keep passing that ball wide and keep it down, without really trying to hit a 30, 40-yard killer ball all the time, I'm sure that they could get behind Rangers and get the ball into the box.
Well, the moods of the 2 sets of supporters in such contrast at the moment. The pulses are racing, I'm sure, of the Rangers fans. Absolutely delighted with the way the players have coping admirably in contentious circumstances, difficult circumstances. But Celtic, who are at the open part of the ground, are damp and dismal at the moment. McCall. Here's Hallström. And McCall again. He had a spell out with injury, Stuart McCall, and he picked up another knock on an ankle against Celtic 10 days ago. Missed Saturday's win against St Johnstone. But he's been brave and busy throughout in midfield. Miller trying his luck on the left. McCall trying to lift it over Derek White to get McCoist away again. White's cross, Brown pretty much at full stretch. Morris. The flick was from Coyne. Backman was claiming handball, and with the ball out of play, Paul Rideout getting ready for Rangers. There was a fair amount of expectation here that he would start in place of Mark Haitley. Haitley, who damaged his back with virtually the last kick of the game at St Johnstone on Saturday.
It's very hard to see exactly who will be coming off the Rangers. They all seem to be really flying out of their skins here. Whether they've got an injury or someone's got a knock, or Stuart McCall's feeling something, I'm not too sure, but Paul Rideout's got his kit off now and he's all set to come on.
Well, I suppose the obvious change would be to feel that Ali McCoist, who's had to work up there on his own, might be relieved of that burden, but it's a brave manager who takes McCoist off at any stage.
Yes, Ali's played exceptionally well tonight. He's really worked hard across the whole of the Celtic back four on his own for a great part of the game. I'm sure given the choice, Ali won't want to come off anyway.
Paul Rideout for the moment has put a top back on, although he's sprinting away down the near touchline, getting the muscles stretched. And we understand that Walter Smith, watching from the stand, hasn't been able to get the message down to the bench as to who is to come off. Here's Morris. And he's coming down to deliver that message himself. Brown. This is Galloway. Now McStay. Boyd. Celtic looking to find the key here. McStay. Oh, thudded against the bar. Back off Brown. Corner. O'Neill hit the post earlier in the half. McStay the bar now. Rangers riding their fortune again, but they still lead only just.
Great shot by Paul McStay. Andy Gorham beating all ends up there, and fortunately for Rangers, once again the Woodbuck comes to their rescue. 17
minutes to go. Corner to Celtic. Chris Morris to take it. Mowbray wanting to launch himself at it. Oh, onto the bar again. Andy Gorham touched the header from Craney up onto the frame of the goal. Celtic's incessant pressure widening the cracks now.
There's probably a few cracks in Woodwork at the moment.
And Liam Brady, no luck for the team managed by the Irishman. Mowbray's face is set in that determined expression. He looks like a footballer from any age. McStay. Now Miller. That was Spackman's header. Durant with another meaningful contribution in midfield. pretty deep in midfield. They're queuing up Celtic here. And Gorham has the answer again from Tommy Boyd. A succession of shots here at the Rangers goal.
There's a good ball in there, never a penalty, I think, and a good snapshot, well saved. Celtic once again had men over on the far post. A good header back by Tony Mowbray when there was at least 2 men outside him.
15 minutes to go on this extraordinary evening at Hampden Park.
I think that's the first touch Gordon Marshall's had for about 20 minutes.
Liverpool warming up for their semi-final in the FA Cup on Sunday against Portsmouth. Morris wanted a bit too long. Goff got there before Craney. Here's Morris. Gorham in a chase here that he had to win. This is our camera inside the goal. You'll see the goal shake with the power of Paul McStay's shot. And the hearts of the Rangers fans must have shaken as well, and indeed the Celtic supporters in disappointment. Brown giving away a free kick. This might be a chance for Celtic. Collins was the player whose heels were clipped. The Rangers want to make a change. They want to take Dale Gordon off, but he's in there defending at the moment, just in front of John Brown, who got to the ball. A procession of players in there for Celtic. That looked like handball. Morris with the cross, wanting to get power to it. Stevens is there. That's a goal kick. And now Dale Gordon will come off. Poor ride out. Perhaps appropriate that Rideout has found a home in Scotland now. The first time he made any impact in football was against Scotland at schoolboy level. That amazing international of the under-15s at Wembley some 12 years ago now, which Scotland won 5-4, and I believe Paul McStay was playing in that team. And Rideout got 3 of England's 4 goals. Boyd with the throw. 12 minutes to go. Can Rangers do it? Can Celtic come back? Goff knows the answers that he wants to come up with. Morris had to come a long way across. Miller. Morris again. Oh, and there's a collision, if that's the right word, between Coyne Nigel Spackman, I think it is. Now, if the referee believes that that was meant by Coyne, Celtic might have a problem here. No, it's not a case of evening the count, which crossed my mind.
Well, I think Mr. Waddle had a very good idea of the foul there. He was very well situated and blew immediately. With the substitution, Paul Rideout's come on as a straight 1-for-1 swap with Dale Gordon on the right-hand side of the midfield. I think now with just about 10 minutes left to go, is that right, Martin? I think Rangers now just got to keep their nerve, keep plugging away, keep making the tackles, don't do anything desperate, and leave every panic situation to Celtic.
Well, a spot of blood from Nigel Spackman's nose, plenty of sweat from Rangers, and the tears of joy that were shed by Ali McCoist when he scored so far the only goal of the night. 10 minutes left. This would go down as one of Rangers' greatest victories over Celtic. But it's premature to go beyond conjecture at the moment. Boyd. Another countless headers by Goff. Galloway has made a better angle. It's Brown who wallops it away. McCoy's having to come deeper and deeper to try and get a touch and hold it up. Oh, penalty surely. Not given. It's not a goal. And Andrew Waddle chased by Celtic players here. John Collins, John Brown.
Well, I have to admit, I thought that was a penalty.
I must say I did too.
He had a very good eyesight, a very good picture of the incident, and chose not to give it.
Liam Brady with an expression that said it all. Celtic coming here with this 12-game run of victories, 14 matches unbeaten. Rangers, for their part, 1 defeat in their last 21 games, and that, of course, was against Celtic.
And roughly with about 9 minutes to go, luck really does seem to be smiling on Rangers. But we all know that anything can happen in Old Firm games.
And Celtic have a great reputation for playing right till the last blast on the whistle. They know no other way. Corner. Earned by Craney. One of 3 Celtic players who in the second half have seen efforts at goal come out of either post or bar. This is Spackman, who has been superb as the makeshift centre-back. Well, that was Galloway going in then in a manner that has angered the opposition and earned a rebuke for the referee. And that type of tackle really has no place in the game, even an Old Firm game where there are extra allowances made at times. And they do, the players by and large, take it well as hand it out. But a 2-footed tackle that escaped really strict censure from the referee. Seven minutes left. Are Celtic going to get the reward for dictating the game in the second half? Galloway, oh, a phenomenal shot from a good 40 yards. And Gorham couldn't hold it initially quite cleanly, which invited the follow-up.
Galloway really hits this well. Bobbles right in that muddy patch, and then Gorham recovers well and gets his body down. Good goalkeeping. It really is muddy in that penalty area. The ball bounces 2 or 3 times, and he just takes it, and then up he gets. Good
in the
rebound.
first half, the outfield players protected Andy Gorham. He hardly had a save to make. In the second half, he's done his bit.
I think now with all the Celtic success, really, with shots on target, they really have peppered Andy Gorham's goal. People like Stuart McCall have got to get closer to people like Galloway and McStay now, because they've got the range, they've got the target now, and I'm sure that if they keep on having freedom to shoot, one of these shots will go in. So McCall's very important to Rangers to try and close down these shots.
Remember, Ali McCoist has scored the first goal by a Rangers player against Celtic in the Scottish Cup since Tom Forsyth back in 1973. So precious for Rangers. Every passing second taking them closer and closer to an extraordinary victory on a terrible night, but that will not worry those behind the left-hand goal, the goal in which McCoist tucked the ball right at the end of the first half. Spackman. Goff, clinically and cleanly heading away. The play spread by Morris. And John Brown, custom built for Old Firm clashes. Morris with the free kick. Goff there again. And it's dropped Rangers' way. McCoist's only got one ball on, that was it. As he was flattened by Boyd, McCoist has stayed down. And Boyd believes that he's shamming. Galloway.
Well, it's all blood and thunder here, with challenges going in everywhere. I think Rangers can't allow themselves to be pushed back too far. Any free kicks, any developments, any balls that McStay picks up, Rangers have got to keep out of that penalty area. Because any ball into the box can cause panic now in these final few minutes of the game. They've got to keep out.
Durant. Galloway. That's Goff. Stevens stopping the corner. McCoist available again. And Durant, any touch away from the Rangers goal in any part of the pitch is being roundly cheered by Rangers followers, who have had one heck of a night. If their team survived the last 3 minutes. That's still quite a big if. Gorham, two fists. McCoist there again. Nothing more than a throw to Celtic. White. Galloway. They're queuing up in the centre now. And Hallström. McCall hoped to get it wide to McCoist, only succeeded in landing it behind him. McCoist trying to get involved in some time wasting here. Will he still be smiling at the final whistle? McStay, 2 minutes left. Morris only at Hallström. There's no ball out for Rangers. That was pretty much all Hallström could do.
The final pass from Celtic is just going astray now, right in the last few minutes.
That's right out. Galloway, White, Boyd. Oh, will it run through for Celtic here? It might do. Gary Stevens had other ideas.
What a great bit of defending by Gary Stevens. Just gets the tackle and then the ball's about to drop. Good tackle.
Durant, foul by McStay. More time for Rangers. The sponsors have announced their choice as man of the match, and I don't think there'd be too much disagreement. Nigel Spackman, who ironically has had quite a hard time of it in midfield in recent games for Rangers, caught up in the team's general decline from their very high standards of much of the season. Stevens, We're dealing in seconds now, but there's still time for Celtic to earn a replay. And Stevens ducked out wisely. We talked about the difficulties Rangers have had in the Scottish Cup over the last 11 years. The last 3 years, of course, they've been put out by Celtic. It's been a very hard thing to live with here in Glasgow. McCoist. The flag has stayed down, and Peter Hallström could give Rangers, although the ball is taken in wide, help perhaps to give Rangers an ending to the second half akin to the one the first half. Rideout is down hurt. McCall shoots. The referee looks at the watch. Rideout is spark out on the halfway line. Stevens puts the ball well forward. Rideout shows signs of a recovery. Terry Butcher, you've been involved in some great Old Firm games, but the way Rangers, your old club, have set out here after losing Davie Robertson so early in the piece, absolutely remarkable.
Oh, that's right, but I mean, if Rangers can hang on in, we're really into the last few seconds, and Celtic will keep going right until the final whistle, so Rangers can't afford to relax now.
That was Goff, not with the hand. Celtic were appealing. Galloway, McStay, McCall's tackle. Away goes Durant. Looking for help. He gets it from McCall. Oh, well, McCoist, who seemed to start on the halfway line, but the flag was up.
I think that's about the only decision the Lions have to make this half, is all the other plays within the Rangers half. I think really that was a correct decision. He was just offside.
This is surely the last chance for Celtic. And it goes on the full from Galloway in his own half into the arms of Andy Gorham. Rangers roars all around Hampden. Free kick is for Rangers for Craney impeding the goalkeeper.
Tony Mowbray now is playing as an out-and-out striker the last few minutes of the match. He must be a bit annoyed. He hasn't really had much service up there lately.
Never write off Rangers. A sensational semi-final success. 84 minutes with 10 men to put the old enemy out of the Scottish Cup at long, long last, and into the 1992 final of the Tennant Scottish Cup. Ali McCoist scored the goal, but all around him were other heroes. Andy Gorham in a second half in which, often as he stopped shots, the frame of the goal came to his rescue as well on 3 occasions. But moments like this are very, very rare, and hardened football people like Walter Smith are absolutely delighted, and understandably so. This has been a triumph rippling with character and courage. Celtic already off the pitch. They hit the post with O'Neill, hit the bar with McStay, and a header from Craney was turned onto the bar from Andy Gorham. They might have had a penalty when John Brown appeared to bring down John Collins. But Ali McCoist, yet again, has been a marvel for Rangers. Nigel Spackman, the man of the match, and plenty of others to run him close. The preparation not perfect tonight for Rangers, and when David Robertson went off after 6 minutes, sent off for body-checking Joe Miller. They must have feared the worst. But they have written another page in this lengthy history of Old Firm contests. It's their semi-final in extraordinary circumstances by Ali McCoist's goal to 0.
Welcome back. Rangers are in the Scottish Cup final. They'll play either Airdrie or Hearts, of course, a game you'll see live here on Sky Sports. The 10 men held out, Ray Wilkins.
Yes, they did, and I thought they defended very well indeed. Had a little bit of luck, I thought, when John Brown... I thought it was a penalty, but there's a saying amongst us footballers that things do equal themselves out. And for the doubters out there who thought it wasn't a sending-off offence, it was a definite penalty.
Well, we'll have a look at it all again in a moment or so. Celtic, it wasn't their night, Paul, was it? You rather sensed that when Brian O'Neill's shot was deflected onto a post.
Yeah, I felt certainly during the second half they really felt to sort of take the initiative, but it wasn't really till Mike Galloway come on that they realised they had to have a lot of shots, get the ball wide, get it into the box, but they never really failed to capitalise and do it. I mean, O'Neill, I thought he had a particularly good game, and it was a terrific shot, a deflection of Spackman, and Andy Graham was left helpless there.
I mean, he was beaten, wasn't he, from the minute it was deflected? He
actually come off his hand, I thought, Richard.
Looking at it again,
I
thought that there, yes.
I didn't see it during the game, but it looks as if it come off his hand. But he was well beaten. He would never have got that. I think any shot on target tonight was difficult for any goalkeeper. The surface was quite atrocious in the goal mouths, as we saw there.
1-0 Rangers, the goal scorer, Ali McCoist, with virtually the last kick of the first half. He's waiting for us now with David Livingston. David.
Ali, you've been involved in so many great occasions with Celtic when Rangers have won. Where does that rank in the great victories you've enjoyed?
I think in terms of us losing the man early on, David, that must be one of our finest performances. We lost David, unfortunately, early in the first half, and it was going to take not a lot of nice football after that, a lot of gritty performances, and that was the way it worked out. A magic result for us.
Before the game, the manager said that the Rangers players were fed up having it rammed down their throat, that this game was more important to Celtic than to you. Was that the case?
Of course we were. We were very, very disappointed. We did not play well last week when Celtic beat us 2-0 at Ibrox. And then we picked up the newspapers on the Sunday and the Monday, and some of the Celtic players were saying it was the easiest game they've had all season. Well, maybe that was the second easiest. I hope it was.
So tonight's game, after the sending off, how did things develop in the team? What was the spirit in the team?
I thought the spirit was magnificent for everybody to see, David. It was, as I said earlier, it wasn't going to be a nice performance. We had to stick in. I thought the midfield and defence battled very, very hard. They were always going to get a couple of sniffs at goal. They were unlucky a couple of times, hit the woodwork. But we defended magnificently, I felt, and were worthy winners in the end.
And of course, if there was going to be a single goal victory, it was going to be Alistair McCoist that scored the goal. What do you remember about the goal?
I remember, I think Stuart McCall and myself dispossessed a couple of the Celtic players in the middle of the park, and Stuart raced away on the right and cut a lovely ball back to me, and I just kept it down. And I think we're going to see a little bit of it on television. Here's Stuart cutting it back here, and it was a little bit further out than I like, but I was happy to see it going anyway. They were very pleasing.
Can you take it that there might be a wee celebration from you tonight of that goal?
I would imagine there might be one or two sherbets getting sunk tonight.
And is this now Rangers Cup?
Far from it. We've got a tough final. Be it Airdrie or Hearts, they'll fight it out, I think, next week. We're in the final. That's the main thing at the road, and we've got the final to look forward to, so we're really pleased.
Ali, thanks very much. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, David.
The irrepressible Ali McCoist, 30 goals this season. He may not get a more important one. Ray Wilkins ran himself to a standstill, didn't he?
Yeah, he was quite magnificent. When you're down to 10 men, you definitely need someone up there to hold the ball up and allow the guys to come up and join you. He also worked very hard in putting defenders under pressure. He did have an excellent game. Excellent.
Paul Elliott, we were talking about McStay here as he crashed a shot against the bar. Again, as I said a little earlier, when O'Neill's shot hit the post, you thought, oh, is this going to be their night? This one was screaming, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was an absolute terrific strike, and he actually took the initiative from Mike Galloway. He come on, he had a marvellous strike. The ball's played square by Tommy Boyd, and just a little deflection there. Absolute tremendous shot. Gave Graham absolutely no chance there. And I think, at that point, I sensed in myself that it just wasn't to be.
We can have a look at it again from another angle.
Yeah, I mean, it's an absolutely magnificent shot. And Gorham was just there watching it. I mean, he was left helpless there. And it was just the start of bad things to come.
Shortly afterwards, Tony Mowbray, I think via Andy Gorham.
I think that was from the resulting corner, actually, Richard. As it comes in, Mowbray's unmarked, poor defending by the Rangers, and Gorham pushes it onto the bar and it's finally scrambled away. But that was, in actual fact, was a very good effort because he had a free header there. Although it was hanging up in the air, he had to jump vertically and nut it.
It was one of those horrible loopy headers as well, wasn't it? Goalkeepers don't like those, do they?
That's right. I don't know whether John Brown, the last second, gave him a little touch as well, which put him off, but he might have done slightly better.
Well, we'll give the penalty incident, I think, first to the ex-Ranger. You were honest enough to admit it was. I think it was, wasn't it?
I definitely think it's a penalty. As the ball's played into the box, it gets a flick on. And he isn't going anywhere. He's got 3 Rangers guys in front of him. John shouldn't really have dived in like that. He should just have stood his ground and allow him, or push him outside the box. But he doesn't. And there we see it. It's for me anyway, it's 100%.
There's a phrase you players use. I think it's stick-on, isn't it, Paul? That was a stick-on, wasn't it?
Yeah, but to be fair, I mean, I just feel personally very, very disappointed because for all Celtic's previous form, 12 wins out of 14 games, I mean, it meant nothing really.
No, they'd swap the league win tonight, wouldn't they?
Exactly. And Ali made a point about possibly some complacency there. I mean, I don't know. All I can really say, it was a magnificent performance by Rangers. I mean, playing a 4-4-1 against that type of system, it can be very difficult. And I really felt that Celtic didn't take enough initiative there because with the extra man to pass the ball and do the right things to get them stretched. But, you know, Rangers march on.
How often do the 10 men do that, Ray? Let's have another look at the winning goal. As I said, virtually the last kick of the first half. And didn't he take it well? Little adjustment on the feet as it came across.
Yes, that's right. It's in actual fact a very, very good pass. He doesn't have a big gap in which to put it in. And Coistie's deadly from there. He always hits the target. And I think that's the thing with really good strikers, is they hit the target. And as you can see, keeps it down. And on that surface, it was always going to be tough for the goalkeeper.
So 1-0 to Rangers. Just a reminder, you'll see the Scottish Cup final live here on Sky Sports, Airdrie or Hearts. Just another word about our competition tonight. Those 2 lovely limited edition prints are up for grabs, Terry Butcher and Billy McNeil. And the question, well, it's quite simply this. I say simply, it's a toughie actually. The only player to win a Scottish Cup medal with Rangers against Celtic and then Celtic against Rangers. The only player to win a Scottish Cup medal with Rangers against Celtic and then with Celtic against Rangers. And the address to send your answers to: Old Firm Cup Quiz, Sky Sports, PO Box 6, Isleworth, Middlesex, TW